Coming up on Ann Arbor Tonight, we have a great show for you this evening. We have former University of Michigan quarterback John Wangler. Yes, that's right. We also have comic Khurum Sheikh. Yes, and our musical guest, Mr. Jim Michos. Yes. Great show this evening. Yes, baseball season is coming up. And last season one team was so broke they couldn't even afford numbers. They had fractions. Yes, in local news, the city of Ann Arbor is preparing for St. Patrick's Day, or in other words, a hangover. Yes, ballparks are religious places. Well, that's because last season I kept hearing, "Sit down for Christ's sake." Yeah, did you guys hear about this top list ventriloquist? Yeah, it's incredible. Her lips never moved. Yeah. What's Irish? Moves in, gets used, and thrown out on the porch? Patio furniture. All right, folks, we have a great show for you tonight, so please stay tuned. Welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Please give a warm Ann Arbor Tonight welcome for our feature interview guest, former University of Michigan quarterback John Wangler. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, he played football for the University of Michigan from 1977 to 1980. And during the 1970 and 80 seasons, formed with Anthony Carter, one of the most successful passing combinations in Michigan Wolverines football history. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. John Wangler.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Zach.
Hey, thank you so much, John. We appreciate you being on Ann Arbor Tonight, Ann Arbor's late night television show. First thing, how are you?
I'm doing good, Zach. I'm having a good day, and it's always great to be back in Ann Arbor.
Hey, heck yeah, and we're glad to have you. So first, I wanted to know where it all started for you. What first got you interested in playing sports?
I guess I was kind of a little hyperactive little guy, and I just kind of gravitated toward athletics. And when I was young, and played all sports, football, basketball, baseball, whatever was in season. And
yeah.
I think it was a great way to burn off energy and keep me from ruining the house. So my parents and my friends everyone was all supportive. And growing up in the 60s and 70s, we didn't have as many distractions as kids do today with their phones and social media and, Fortnite and all that great stuff. So pretty much that's all I did.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think the fact that, you being a great example of what, athletics and being an active can do, I think is great. What was it that really made you say Michigan was for me? Because as a quarterback, you get recruited. There's other options. There's other choices.
Right.
But what was it that made you say, yeah, Michigan's for me?
Well, two things. University of Michigan being the University of Michigan,
yep.
and everything it stands for, and Bo Schembechler.
Yep.
Those two things, coupled with the proximity of Ann Arbor to, Detroit and Royal Oak, where I grew up, a lot of my friends and family could come see me.
Yep.
And, that was important to me, and I wanted to compete at the highest level, both, in the classroom and on the field.
Sure.
And Michigan offers you that opportunity, and it was very difficult, and I can't imagine myself saying no to Michigan when they ask you to come.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, to play for the winningest college football program doesn't hurt either.
No, you're not going to say no to Bo. He was pretty persuasive, and he recruited me pretty hard, as well as Bill McCartney, who was the coach here as well. He was kind of my recruiter. Between him and Bo, I couldn't say no.
Sure. Do you remember the words that Bo said that really stuck with you?
Pretty much that you're coming here. I was the last guy to sign in my class. I played basketball, and I was getting recruited in basketball. And
okay.
So I kind of waited till after basketball season, and he held a scholarship for me. And I was close to going to Virginia, actually. My teammate of mine went to Virginia, and he said, "You're not going to Virginia, you're coming to Michigan." And I said, "Okay, Coach, where do I sign?"
Yep. No, that's awesome. What a great story. And, you know, to be able to play just for a great coach like that is amazing. So congratulations on that. And I want to talk about this, and I know a lot of people ask you this question, but to me it's fascinating because it still resonates today, and I enjoy watching it. But your game-ending touchdown pass to Anthony Carter in the 1979 Indiana game led to Michigan's famed radio announcer, Mr. Bob Ufer, one of my favorites. He said, "Johnny Wangler to Anthony Carter will be heard until another 100 years of Michigan football is played."
Center is Wangler at the 45. He goes back. He's looking for a receiver. He throws downfield to Carter. Carter hands up. Carter is down. Look at those Wolverines. 95 Wolverines going in the end zone. Carter got the pass. In the air, it's done. Ufer is going out of his mind. I have never seen anything like this in all my 40 years of covering Michigan football. Anthony Carter, the human torpedo, got the pass. Bo Schembechler is looking up and he's looking up at Fielding H. Yost in football's Valhalla. And Bo Schembechler says, "Thank you, Fielding Yost. Thank you, Fielding Yost, for that one." Look at the crowd. You cannot believe it. Michigan throws a 45-yard touchdown pass. Johnny Wangler to Anthony Carter will be heard until another 100 years of Michigan football is played.
And I don't know about you, but I do agree with that. Now, do you mind, John, can you share something about that drive with us that very few people know?
Well, there's a few things, and I think that Bob made that play maybe better than the play, actually, the way he called it and described it. But and he really immortalized it in his call. First of all, that was the 100th year of Michigan football, and it was homecoming, and we were tied with Indiana. Lee Corso went for the tie on the road. We were all mad. We should have been beating them by a lot more. And
Sure.
the fans, it was a minute 31 left. A lot of the fans were leaving the stadium, and as we were coming out for our last drive, and we were all kind of scratching our head like there's still a little bit more football to be played. And then in the first part of that drive, the first series on that drive, we got to be like fourth and 3 or 4.
Okay.
And I threw a screen pass to Lawrence Reed, our fullback, and he wasn't going to get the first down, which would have ended the game for us. But he was smart enough to pretend like he stumbled and threw the ball to Corso out of bounds past the first down marker.
Oh, wow.
So we got the first down. Corso was jumping up and down, going crazy. And they passed a rule the next year that was illegal.
Oh, wow.
But that kept the drive going, and then we had that last play, and Anthony Carter was a freshman then, and Anthony was very shy, and he came in. He brought the play in, and as we were breaking the huddle, he said, "Hey, throw me the ball." I said, "I am, just run." So he got open, I threw him the ball, and the rest is history. But I was running down the field to call timeout because I didn't think that he was going to be able to get in the end zone because 2 or 3 guys had great angles on him.
Right.
And Anthony split the defenders and almost went down on his knee and kept his balance and got in the end zone. And that really was, maybe the signature moment for the country to realize that Anthony was a special talent that, we have never seen here at Michigan.
Right.
And he, that kind of opened the college football world's eyes to what a great, great player he was.
John, what did you think? 55 seconds to go and all that yardage to cover.
Well, I was really optimistic because I've been in those kind of situations before, and I have a lot of confidence that we could move the ball down the field. I was hoping we might have to get into a field goal situation like against Notre Dame, but then Lawrence Reed made a real nice play throwing the ball out of bounds and stopping the clock, which was really a crucial play.
Bring back, it was dull and boring games in that stadium somehow. This guy's going to kill me.
Have you ever been in a game like that before?
Dave, I was asked that question, and I can't think of one where we won on the last play, and that's 27 years of coaching, I really don't remember a time when we won on the last play.
All the cliches about never taking your opponent lightly, about the game is never over till the final gun, those kind of things. What are you thinking on the sideline with 6 seconds to go?
Well, actually, Jerry Hanlon called down the fact that we felt we had to go in front of them, you know, and yet we had to get into the end zone. The best guy to do that on our team is Anthony Carter. You get the ball to him in the secondary where they're spread out a little bit, and it's tough to catch him. It really is. And as you saw, he broke the 2 tackles. I thought for sure, looking down, he fell down. There's no way that he could keep his balance. And all of a sudden, I saw him come back up erect. I couldn't believe it. And it was a great play.
He was the primary receiver then? What was your
Yes,
alternatives?
he was the primary receiver. It was a basic fake with a post cut, and Marsh went to the flat, and Clayton was coming down the other side. And so they were deep enough, and it was, you know, and John threw the ball right on the money where he could catch it on the dead run, fortunately, because had he had to reach back or slow down or something like that, he'd have been nailed by those 2 guys.
For you being a quarterback, I'm curious too, how much of that is pre-preparation and sort of knowing the play, knowing what's called, but then how much of it is anticipation, you know, knowing what the defense is going to do and saying, okay, you know, I can react?
Well, Bo was a big stickler on preparation, and we were always the most prepared team on the field. And, you know, we had really hard practices on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. If you got through those practices, Saturday was going to be easy. And then come Saturday, you know, we'd get in the game. We had a great game plan, but he'd make adjustments. If anything they gave us in that first half, the adjustments at halftime, we would take that away, and it wouldn't happen to us again in the second half. So,
right.
In my mind, you know, you evaluate coaches on their ability to prepare a team to go into a game, and then how they adjust at halftime.
Right.
And that's really, and the one thing about our teams and what Bo did, and you look at it 20 years, we were never out of a game at the end. We were always in a position to win in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And that's a very hard thing to do. And, you know, sometimes people said we were a little bit boring because we were running the football and playing defense and playing field position.
Sure.
But in the end, you look at the results, and we were always there at the end with a chance to win.
Yeah. Well, and I think that speaks volumes about the chemistry that you were able to help facilitate with your teammates, how you guys played together, and how you were always able to fulfill that outcome, right? Giving your chance an opportunity to win. So upon leaving the University of Michigan football program, you ranked second all-time among Michigan quarterbacks in most career passing statistics, including passing yardage, touchdown passes, yards per completion, and completion percentage. But I'm curious, how did your time at Michigan prepare you for like later life?
Well, I think the biggest thing was, and you've heard Tom Brady say it, his struggles at Michigan to be able to finally become the quarterback, right? The ups and downs. When I came here, there was 12 guys in the quarterback room, and you know, I didn't start at the top. I came in, which a lot of people questioned my intelligence, and probably still do. Rick Leach started as a freshman. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'd be coming in a year behind him, and Michigan was really an option school. We were averaging 300-400 yards a game rushing the football.
Wow.
So everyone said, why would you go to Michigan? And, you know, Rick was a freshman. You're not going to beat Rick out. And I just thought, you know, that if I got there and I got the opportunity, at some point I'd be able to play. And, you know, I was more of a scrambler before I hurt my knee and a passer. Mm-hmm. And so I think going through the progression of being on the demonstration team, getting injured, you know, fighting back, you know, grinding, crawling your way up, all those things really translate to the business world, right? And I think I love all sports, but I think football is really the biggest, the best sport that prepares you for life because it's a hard sport to play. It's not fun to practice a lot of times, a lot of preparation, and you have to rely on your teammates. You can be a great quarterback or receiver or running back, and if your line doesn't block, then you know it doesn't matter. So you have to be a good teammate, and you have to put a lot of your individual goals, you know, aside, and you know you have to do what's best for the team. And that was a great thing that Bo, you know, obviously is the team, right? Well, that's really what you learn in football. You should learn,
Yeah.
and it wasn't about you; it was about the team. And yeah, I would have liked to throw the ball 50 times a game, but
Yeah.
that wasn't what's going to win us games, and that wasn't what's best for the team. So you do what's best for the team.
Yep.
And I think in business it translates to, you got to do those things. What's best for the business, not just how much money you can make individually. Is your business going to be successful? Do your role, and then everybody will profit.
Yep. I like that. And now you are the quarterback of your own company, Top Cat Sales, which is a wholesale distributor of licensed apparel and footwear for Reebok and Adidas. And your company printed several hundred championship T-shirts for the Detroit Red Wings during the 2009 Stanley Cup Finals. But again, and you touched on it a little bit, but again, the fact that you can apply that team philosophy that Bo instilled in you to your company, I think really says volumes. And with your company, you founded Valiant Brand, which is an apparel company inspired by the University of Michigan with your son Jared. So can you share a little bit about Valiant Brand and sort of what makes it unique?
Well, I worked for Adidas, and when we had the contract at Michigan for 8 years, and then Nike got it, brand Jordan. And so there was a niche, that I didn't want to not be able to sell Michigan product. And, I'd been selling this for 30 years, and I had a lot of good relationships. And Michigan and Kristen Abloff, who's a licensing director, was nice enough to let me get a license. And, I work really closely with Scott Hirth and the MDen, and those guys have been great, and they wanted to support us. So, we're not going to compete with Jordan and Nike, but there's a niche there that, we come up with some creative, unique designs and apparel that, people like at a very competitive price.
Yeah.
That was kind of what we wanted to do. And, getting Jack and Jared and Ian Bunting involved, kind of teaching them the business world has been nice. And they all, have good, sharp business minds, and they have a lot better fashion sense than, 60-year-old guys. So, talking to them about what would be a good item. And
Sure.
So it's been fun. It's been fun, and it's been great to still be able to work with Michigan and the MDen.
Yeah, and I mean, you've expanded too to other college campuses with the brand, which I think is nice too. But of course, always have a base and a faithful, Michigan tie. So I think that's
well, Michigan's always going to be the best, and we, we're just focused on getting Michigan right, and then we can see where it goes from there.
There we go. Really quick, are you reading any good books lately, or have you?
This is embarrassing, but the last book I read was about Joe Namath, who was my idol.
Okay.
And that's been a couple of years ago. So I wish I would take the time to read more, but I can't tell you that I've read any good books. I'm good at reading the newspaper and reading stuff online and all that, but I haven't been able to sit down and relax and read a good book in a while.
Hey, no problem. And Broadway Joe, one of the best, just great Super Bowl champion, and that's awesome. So really quick, can you share one funny memory you have while being involved with the Michigan football program, whether on the field or in the locker room?
Well, there's a lot of funny memories. Maybe one, you guys, this wasn't as funny to me as it was to maybe you guys will think, but Bo, I thought Bo, he had a great sense of humor, and he really did. I don't know if he got credit for it, but he was very serious and everything. And my sophomore year, I wasn't having a real good year. I was, backing up Rick and battling to back up. And in practice, we'd run the option. I'd always pull the ball when I should have been giving it, or give it when I should have been pulling it. And so I made a stupid read, and I came back, and Bo said, "You're the dumbest quarterback in the history of intercollegiate football."
He said that to you?
I said, "Yeah, that's a long time, Coach." He said, "What'd you say?" I said, "That was a long time." He said, "Get out, you're out." He kicked me out of practice, and then he let me back the next day. But he was so wonderful to play for, and just to be around. There's certain people that you just can't wait to be around every day, and Bo was one of them. He really was a special guy, and I've always said if you had a son, he's the guy you'd want him to play for.
Yeah, wow. I love it. And final question, for all those young athletes out there that are watching this, what advice do you have for them?
My advice is that you don't let anybody tell you can't do something, and chase your dream and shoot, shoot big for the stars, because you may not get the one you want, but you're gonna be successful, and really there's no substitute for hard work. There's no shortcuts. You got to grind.
Yep.
So if you have a passion and that's what you love, athletics, then go for it. And wherever you end up, it's a wonderful experience. And being part of a team,
Yep.
there's nothing better than being part of a team. Whether you're the first guy or you're the last guy, just being able to be a part of a team when you're all working for a common goal, that's one of the great things about sports.
Awesome. Wise words from a wise man. John Wangler, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Thanks, Ed.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Thank you. Thank you so much. I am pleased to introduce our comic guest for the evening. Khurum Sheikh is a 25-year-old veteran of the Ann Arbor Police Department who does comedy all over the country and is currently in the movie starring Mason Pryor, which is Richard Pryor's son. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Ann Arbor Tonight welcome for Khurum Sheikh, everybody.
All right, thank you very much. And give yourselves a hand for supporting live comedy, seriously. Because it's hard doing comedy right now, right? You've got the country so divided, you got red states, blue states. What I like to do, I like to bring everybody together, because in a democracy, the important thing is we vote and get involved, right? So make some noise regardless of who you voted for, but that you voted and got one of these I voted stickers. Yeah. You can see I'm still wearing mine. I didn't even vote. I just wear this so it looks like I'm a U.S. citizen. Thought might get that here in Ann Arbor. Actually, I'm thinking of going to Arizona and selling these before they build that wall. I'm not kidding. Who needs one? Anybody need one? Usually they'll need them in the kitchen. Are we all politically correct, Ann Arbor, huh? But it's weird because I'm originally from Pakistan. Thank you for that warm response. And so with all that's going on, it's hard, like you've got Donald Trump fans and non-fans. But wouldn't you agree, regardless of what you think of Donald Trump, that Melania is a bit of a different first lady? Would you give us that? Yeah. Because usually first ladies, they take on a cause. What is Melania taking on? We get newspapers from yeah, no, that's right. Bullying, yeah, cyberbullying. While Donald Trump is like one of the biggest cyberbulliers. To me, that was like if Jeffrey Dahmer's wife wanted to go vegan. He was the cannibal, those that don't remember. Although I'll give Donald Trump credit, though, she's like the third model that he married, right? I think the only model I ever had relations with, I had to put together. And it was an airplane. Hey, I was young in a cockpit. All right, I wasn't that young. And then they are saying now with the Supreme Court, with Kavanaugh being confirmed, it could become more conservative. And if you remember, they already ruled that cake decorator did not have to make a cake for a gay couple. You remember that, right? Were you like me, though, when I saw that story? I'm thinking to myself, is there any more gay profession than cake decorator? Right? You think of it. What did this guy do for his chosen profession? He squeezed cream into a bun. That's got to be the plot of every porno movie. I'm guessing. Is that right, guys? Is that the plot? But they are saying now the Supreme Court's so conservative that if same-sex marriage went back to the Supreme Court, they might overrule it. So just curious, I do my surveys here in Ann Arbor. Are we okay with same-sex marriage? Yeah. Okay, well, make some noise if you're married. Who's married here? All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't marriage all about the same sex? Night after night after night after night. I endorse different sex marriage, so I am divorced. And now, are you following? Like Ann Arbor is actually one of the hubs where they're researching these driverless cars, these smart cars. But some people are nervous. They think they could have more accidents, which could be because they're programmed by Asians. Under the rules of comedy, I can do that joke because I'm a computer programmer. No, I bet you I'm from Pakistan, which is considered Asian. A lot of people think it's just Far East, but it's also India, Pakistan. And I get teased a lot too. I remember when that Harvey Weinstein scandal broke, if you remember, among the things he would do, he'd have young interns watch him shower. Charlie Rose did that too. So when that news broke, there's a female comedian came to me. She's like, Khurum, you would never do something like that, would you? So I got kind of proud. I'm like, no, I would not. She's like, yeah, I didn't think so, because Pakistani men not really known for showering.
Oh.
I'm the victim in that. Follow along. And then you see now George Bush Sr. passed away. And when they were talking about that and stuff, they interviewed Bob Dole, if you remember, because they were in World War II together. Now, were you like me, though, when I saw that? I'm like, Bob Dole is still alive? Right, so they got me thinking, people, we're not sure if they're alive or dead. You guys seem like a smart crowd. I'll test you. Start easy, though. Alive or dead? Lizzie Borden's parents. Dead. Remember giving 40 whacks? I used to do Lindbergh Baby. People are like, too soon, too soon. All right, alive or dead? Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Alive. Yeah, but that is one you got to check every day. That is subject to change. All right, we just had the election. Alive or dead, the Republican Party. No, they're alive, but they are going to have to learn to speak Spanish to realize. Alive or dead, this gentleman's love life. Oh, she knows it's alive, huh? It's a surprise to you, huh? Well, let's give him a hand. He might need one. I'll wrap up with, what do you think of this proposal to add like 45 cents to a gallon of gas? No. Yeah, but I'm thinking, though, if anybody is against it, then they should have to come up with a way to make money instead, right? Like, you know, it's easy to be against something, so see what you think. But I'm thinking, okay, we've already got same-sex marriage is legal. You guys were for it. We have marijuana is legal for recreation. I say to be a Western liberal democracy and to pay for the roads, we legalize prostitution. Oh, okay, I thought it was just going to be Robert Kraft and I. But I think they'll have to do like they did with marijuana, right, where you legalize it incrementally. So first you would legalize prostitution for medicinal purposes. So it'd strictly be for sex addicts. You'd have to get a prescription, but since it's for sex addicts, they're trying to wean you off it, so you get a prescription for bad sex. The two Bills would be the spokespersons, Bill Clinton and Bill Cosby. I'm trying to think inside the box here, people. But the good thing is you could tax it, and then since it's for bad sex, all the women from Columbus, Ohio could get a job. We can't even pick on Ohio State and Ann Arbor. What does this state come to? Well, I'll wrap up with you. You following this Jesse Smollett, the Empire star that claimed he was assaulted and stuff? It reminded me a little bit, see if you're like me, it reminded me a little bit about that white woman that was acting like she was black. Remember who I'm talking about? Taylor Swift. Yeah, we zig and we zag. That's my time. Thank you very much for coming, supporting live comedy.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Thank you. Yes, Khurum, Sheikh, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Khurum, great stuff. Funny
Thank you.
stuff, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, so awesome. So talk about this Next Generation, this film with Mason Pryor. Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, I have, believe it or not, an agent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he'd called me and said, hey, you want to be in a movie?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure. And I thought, be like some student production or something.
Yeah.
This was a few years ago when Michigan had the tax incentives.
Oh, yeah.
And so I show up, and there's a guy, and he looks like Richard Pryor.
Does
and
he?
he's talking like Richard Pryor.
Wow.
And I'm like, is that Richard Pryor's son? Because it was advertised as like a famous son, father situation. They're like, yes.
Wow.
So I was in several scenes with him. He's a very nice guy. He was actually raised by his mom and
okay.
hardly even knew his father.
Oh, wow.
So, and yet, you know, he's famous for being his son.
Yeah, wow, interesting. And then, so what's the response of the film? I mean, are you excited about it and everything?
Have you heard of the movie?
No,
probably not. So that gives you an idea. It's actually, they're trying to market it. They're hoping to have it on Netflix.
Okay.
So it'll be one of those goes directly to streaming.
Yeah, sure. Next generation.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
neat.
exactly. Yeah.
Neat. Awesome. And then I understand that you've been just traveling a lot, doing a lot of comedy. You were in Vegas recently. Were you doing comedy there or just vacationing?
A little bit of both. I did have one gig there,
Nice.
and I stretched that out to a week-long vacation.
Oh, nice.
But it was while we were having the Arctic air here.
Oh, wow.
So it was very nice to be. They were complaining because it was like 65 degrees there. So that's the kind of place you want to be, where they
Shucks.
complain about
Yeah,
65 degrees.
Yeah. No, but I mean, just interesting background on you. I mean, you were an Ann Arbor police officer for 25 years, then kind of got into comedy. Now, what is it about police work that makes you say, gee, I'd like to be a comedian?
Actually, it's surprising, but a lot of comedians have a very good sense of humor.
Right.
We just don't see that. We only see when they mess up on YouTube. Sure. Maybe it's because of the occupation can be so dark.
Okay.
So just like they say, you know, trauma surgeons make fun of people that are doing surgery on this, that, so it's a way to cope.
Right.
But most of the police officers have a good sense of humor. The public doesn't see it.
Gotcha.
And so partly what I want to do with comedy is have people see that.
Right.
In fact, one of the lines I always talk about is, because you'll see police doing wrong on videotape sometimes, but that is an aberration. The way I try to put it in perspective, imagine if just for one day you had a body camera on every single food worker in America.
Wow.
We would not worry about what the police are doing anymore after that.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so trying to bring, and then also actually trying to show humor with Pakistani people, because they're generally portrayed as terrorists and that sort of thing. And so I want to show that not all of us are terrorists.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, no, and I mean, so how does your family, you know, because you come from a very traditional.
Yeah, well, I don't talk to them because they're all terrorists. Some of this stuff writes itself, you know.
Right. Well, no, but how did they embrace it when you said I want to do stand-up comedy?
They were okay because I did it after my police career.
Oh, God.
I actually do tell them, because I know young comedians and they live in like their parents' basement while they're trying to make it. Yeah. And I actually asked my mom, I said, like, if instead of going to college, I had lived in your basement, would that have been cool? Well, she's like one of these Asian tiger moms.
Oh, okay.
So even now, she's like, no, that would not have been okay. And she loves me. She would have let me stay there, but every day I would have had to hear how my cousin's in medical school and I'm in the basement doing these silly jokes or whatever. So I had to get some kind of career that paid bills.
Yeah. And then, I mean, of course, so you worked for the Ann Arbor Police Department, so you've seen Ann Arbor change and grow. How do you like the city? What's your favorite thing about it?
I like it. I always will. I'm fairly liberal, and so Ann Arbor is liberal that way. I do think we're right at the edge where it's getting so expensive, and you are having fairly wealthy people move in who they're coming from New York, San Francisco, so this is dirt cheap to them.
Yeah.
But for us Michigan type people, this is expensive.
Yeah.
And so I hope we keep the diversity in Ann Arbor, not only of ethnicities and race, but also just financial people and stuff. But I love Ann Arbor, and you can see how it's growing and growing. And but like when I was here, it couldn't expand much. But now it's expanding upwards.
Yep.
So you see all these high rises.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and you just featured at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase recently.
Yeah.
A great local club. How was it?
It was great, especially I could do a lot of local references. I'm starting to travel, so I'll try to do generic jokes, but I'm back in Ann Arbor, so I could talk about Ann Arbor's marijuana laws and make fun of Michigan State and Ohio State. And so just different things that we do. I could talk about how here we always have, what are we going to do next? Will we be firing the Lions coach? Or will we be digging for Jimmy Hoffa?
Yeah, right.
Usually we're doing one of those every spring.
That's right, or both.
Yes, exactly.
That's right. Well, Khurum, Sheikh, great stuff. Always a pleasure to have you on, and definitely appreciate your support. For those that want to come see you, check out your gig, or see your film, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, one, they can email me. It'll be at the end, but just my first name, Khurum313 @AOL.com. But also, like this weekend, I'll be in Grand Rapids at the Gilda Radner Comedy Festival.
Nice.
Who she also went to U of M. It's
Okay.
a Michigan gal that did well. So
Nice.
that's in Grand Rapids. It's a fundraiser for her house that's still there.
Wow, awesome. Well, best of luck. I hope it's packed. Hopefully we can get out and see you there. And folks, if you want to see Khurum Sheikh at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase or at the Gilda Radner Comedy Festival, definitely reach him. You can Google him as well, Khurum Sheikh. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, folks, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Peanut, guess what?
What?
Alicia is on Camp TV. Let's watch it.
I don't really feel like it.
Why?
Because I want to watch the interview with the mayor of Ann Arbor.
Well, guess what?
What?
Alicia's interviewing the mayor.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Okay, I'll watch it.
Yay!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, folks. I am so pleased to introduce our musical guest for the evening. Please give a warm Ann Arbor Tonight welcome for Mr. Jim Michos.
Thank you. Thanks so much. That was a little something I wrote off my 2 CDs, and this next segment is going to be for Zach and this awesome Ann Arbor Tonight show. So this is for you, Zach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Yes, thank you so much. Folks, I have Jim Michos with us. My goodness. What a set, Jimmy. Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it.
Oh, man, it was so awesome. And so one of the big questions that I wanted to ask you, what first got you interested in music?
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks for having me on your show. I love your show, Ann Arbor Tonight. And
thank you.
Back when I was a little kid, I was fortunate. I grew up by Mike Lutz, who was in Bronzeville Station and wrote the song Smoking in the Boys' Room. So as a little kid, I just kind of like ventured over there, and he let me hang out.
There we go.
So I really got into music, and that's all I could think about. You know what I mean? And my brother would play Earth, Wind, and Fire and Steve Miller and Ohio Players. They had just great music, and I wouldn't really listen to the words as much, but I would just love to hear like the bass line and especially those bass lines and the piano and the drums, and I just knew that's just what I wanted to do, and I wanted to figure out somehow how I'm going to get there to play those instruments. So I was, that's pretty much how it started.
Oh, that's awesome, and I mean, you did it. You know, you took that dream and you made it a reality, and I want to know, what are some of the biggest things you do to sort of keep yourself inspired? Because you also write a lot of your own music, and that's got to be a very, very tough process.
Well, writing just kind of comes and goes. It just doesn't, it's not like you can sit down and say, oh, I'm going to write this song today. It's just kind of like what goes on in your life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as far as like keeping inspired, like I play with a lot of different people, and I play a lot of different kinds of music, and that really, is the key. I play with a lot of kids groups. I form jazz groups, and I play. Right now I'm playing with Tim Flint. He plays guitar, and he's an awesome vocalist.
Nice.
So that's kind of like that Margaritaville classic rock. I also formed a new group with Mikkel White and Ira Moore.
Nice.
And we're all writers and producers, so the chemistry there has just really been amazing because we're not only going to play our own stuff, but we're going to redo other songs in our own style. And since everybody's a writer and a producer, and it's our chance to really jam, so it's really cool. And then I also do the Greek stuff, so a variety of people.
Yeah. I mean, you do so much, and one of the questions that I had for you too, I mean, speaking of Greece, you've performed all over the world. Can you share a funny memory?
A lot of funny money.
Yeah, a lot of funny money around here, boy. No, can you share a funny memory you have while performing on stage or backstage?
I don't really have anything too funny that's happened, but I've got a like embarrassing kind of story. But I remember playing with somebody a little older than me and a lot better. Just a great musician, and you have to learn like 100 songs, and I learned them in the keys he gave them in. And then that night we went and played. He forgot his glasses, so he's looking down. He's just playing them in different keys. So half the songs I nailed them, and the other half I didn't do so well. So it kind of made me realize like to play out, like things got to happen, and you just got to really like how John was talking about practice, and then game day it's easy. It's kind of the same with music. You just got to like work on it and go through those scales and maybe learn everything in different keys, because if a guy sings, it might be in G minor, or a girl sings, it's in C minor. So you got to be able to quickly adapt.
Exactly.
So I don't have anything funny, but that was kind of an embarrassing story.
No, on
my part.
No, but it talks
but
about.
It taught me a lesson.
Yeah, I mean, Jim, it talks about what you have to go through and the different nuances that you have to work through in terms of becoming a better performer. I mean, as a performer myself, we all have to work through that.
For sure.
Different things that we have to work through. So, no, it's important. In your own words, why is Ann Arbor a great place for music?
Well, Ann Arbor is just, I'm glad I live in Ann Arbor for sure. And it's very educated, it's very cultured. I just love how music's in different, displayed in different areas in Ann Arbor. Like you can go through the park in the summer, you might hear Johnny Lawrence playing just for the love of music and playing out in the park for free. Or you go by the IM building and you hear like the Michigan Marching Band practicing. Or if you go to Cottage Inn on like Thursday night, you hear the Glee Club. They just light up that restaurant. I mean, their voices are just amazing. So there's so much awesome music in Ann Arbor in so many ways. And one cool thing that touched me lately was like U of M was using music for therapy.
Nice.
And this 8-year-old was singing to a song with a musician playing and got through a really difficult surgery. And
Wow,
it was just
yeah.
like, so it all happened in Ann Arbor. It's just really cool. Like, I love this town.
Sure.
So.
Well, in touching on Cottage Inn, if you don't mind,
No.
you play up there quite a bit, and you do a musical series there. Can you talk about that?
Well, I'm just trying to introduce my passion to
Yep.
my everyday. You know, a lot of musicians have to make money
Yep.
other ways as well, although the music's always your passion. I mean,
Yep.
but like I've brought it in like Valentine's Day, we did some live music. We
Nice.
I performed, and then the Glee Club performed, and it was
Yep.
just a really nice hit. Like I think our customers or guests appreciated it.
Yep.
Thanksgiving, we feed like anybody that needs a free meal. We feed like 300 people. So I decided many years ago to have a jam session. You'd be surprised the talent in Ann Arbor.
Oh, yeah.
So people come, we feed about 300 people. I would say like, 5, 10 people come up there, they sing, people are dancing. I mean, music just brings people together. It's awesome.
You're so right.
Yeah.
Jim. It does. It brings people together. If you could perform with one musician, who would that be and why?
And Andrea Bocelli,
Yeah.
hands down. I just love his story's real cool, but
Yeah.
mostly his passion and just when he sings. Like he does that song with Ed Sheeran that's really nice,
Yeah.
and Ed Sheeran's phenomenal. But then when Andrea Bocelli sings in it, it just turns it up a notch. I don't know, he just has that passion, and I try to play with that passion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though he's a singer and I play instruments, but if you can make that happen, Zach, I mean, that would be wonderful.
Well, Jim, I tell you, we'll do the best we can here at Ann
I
Arbor
would thank
tonight.
you the rest of my life here.
right.
So.
That's hilarious. So for all the young artists out there watching, what advice do you have for them?
Well, there's a lot of things. Like it is a little frustrating to learn like instruments, and you just really have to love it. Like you have to practice. Like John was saying, like just drilling things and scales and stuff that might not be as fun.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, it's worth it in the long run. You'll become a great musician. And one thing I tell a lot of kids that I help out, like just kind of mentor, is like everybody learns different.
Yep.
So just because like if like your kids should be excited to go to music. So
Yep.
it might be the wrong teacher. You might have to try out 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
Like my kids practice an hour a day. I've never asked them to practice ever in my life.
Wow.
And they just like look forward to their lessons. They look forward to achieving, their music.
Sure.
And I couldn't be prouder, but I think a lot of it is making it fun and just getting the right teacher and the right chemistry that works for them.
Absolutely.
So, and he also mentioned just work hard and it'll pay off at the end. And I really believe that. Like if you work hard, and music's just it's a fun thing, and it's very satisfying once you get it right.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like such a fulfilling journey no matter what. You
Yeah,
know?
and you can always improve, and
Yep.
there's a lot. Music's, sometimes you just maybe play for 10 years and you feel like you're getting to the top, and then there's always somebody better, so that's a good thing. You know what I mean? It's competition is good, and you always want to strive to learn more and stuff. So.
Absolutely, Jim. And I do want to share with our viewers here. You
Sure.
have a couple of CDs out. So I just want to share these, if we can get a shot. And the awesome thing is you've also brought a couple of CDs for our studio audience this evening. So all of you in the audience today, live in the studio, will get a copy of Jim's new CD. And definitely, Jim, if people want to see where you're going to be performing or check you out on Spotify, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, there's any digital media. You can pretty much like Pandora, YouTube. You can listen to all my songs for free.
Okay.
And see if you like them. If you do, give me a like. And also iTunes,
Yep.
and they're like 99 cents a song. But
Okay.
it's not really the money. I just really want to get them out there. I kind of re-released them both, and now with digital media, it was time to get them out there with digital wise, I guess.
No, definitely. It's definitely good to get your music out there. And, again, you have an incredible gift, and then your music, it just really does have a really great energy. So I wish you all the best. I hope you and Andre can play someday. And
Make it happen. Make it happen.
Yeah, and let's have you back sometime.
Thanks so much, Zach.
All right, thank you. We're going to take a quick break, folks, and we'll be right back.